And we are live. So let's go ahead and share it, my friend.
It's going to be very interesting series. So how is Chicago?
Chicago is okay, my friend. What can I say?
What can you say?
What can I say that has not already been said?
Yeah.
I hate this new Facebook.
The layout. Go switch back to the old, to the classic, man. It's so annoying. I don't know who's in charge of the user experience on this department. It really failed, like epic fail, man.
Did we upload? Let me see if I uploaded. I did not upload the file here yet. Let me see if I have.
I like the long post, man. That's very good.
You like that?
Yeah.
All right, so let's
go ahead and share in a couple of pages in two groups. That excited. This is going to be good because we can just focus on one question or maybe sub-question out of that and talk about this very, very one of the most mysterious and important thing when it comes to digital marketing. Let's see.
Yeah, I think the good thing is our sessions can become shorter now because we're going to be going in over just one topic.
Yeah.
All right, so let me see. Here, let me open this up right here. All right, so I think we can start, huh?
Yeah, you can go ahead. Let me just share one more.
Go ahead.
One place to share.
You share. I'll do the introduction.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hi, everybody. This is Imran Nanwawala. Welcome to our new series, SEO the series, and I'm here again with my dear friend Yusuf Chowdhury, digital marketing strategist. Our third series. We had our small business series when COVID started. We just finished our 6-part or 7-part WordPress series. And now we have our 15-part SEO series, which should last us all the way to November. Only difference maybe is that each session might or should be a lot shorter than previous sessions since we'll be covering so many different topics. And the topic for today is what is SEO and why is it important? Why does it matter? And the next week will be what is on-page SEO and what is off-page SEO, followed by why voice search matters. There's going to be a lot of different topics, so go on to that DLP Digital Learning Partners Facebook page and take a look at all the 15 topics. Yusuf, how you doing?
Very good, my man. And this 15 topic, honestly, can be, I wouldn't say expanded, but I would probably get into the detail, like when the subject comes, like advanced technical SEO or the link building process. So there is an opportunity you might expand to like a subcategory just to let everybody know. But we do want to focus on one question and just tackle that. And if anybody has any question, feel free to put in the comment section.
So let's go straight into it. If I'm a business owner, I'm a podcaster, or I'm someone is doing a variety of different things online, whether it's an online business, online profile. Why does SEO matter for them?
Okay, before we jump to why, which is a very excellent question, before we jump into the subject of, or the question of why SEO matters, let's go ahead and define it first, right? Because people need to understand what the heck is SEO in the first place, right? Because if you don't understand what it is, then when it comes to matter, it won't matter. Makes sense?
Right.
You know what I'm talking about? So that's a beautiful question. We'll definitely get back to it. But the first thing is, let's go ahead and define it. So the technique or the task and the strategies of SEO, which stands for search engine optimization, right? It is part of the digital marketing strategy, because within the digital marketing, you have website branding, content, online ads, content ads, landing pages, email marketing, data science. There's so many, right? And the SEO is part of that, you can say universe, right? It is. The difference is that it's not ad-based like Google Ads or Bing. It's more organic. It's more natural. Okay, so that's the first thing. The second thing is, when we define search engine, we have to understand what does it mean, right? So if I go through the definition, I'm going to give two definitions. One, what Google tells you, and the second one is how most of the SEO experts will explain to you what it is, right? So if you're going to go back to define it again, SEO stands for search engine optimization. Search engine is Google. Optimization, that means you're optimizing your website for your pages to be basically not just shown on the front page of Google. That's a really a wrong way to kind of talk about it. We, sh- we should explain it that when we optimize the pages, you will get the targeted audience find your website so they can take the action whether to buy the product or services. Okay, if you go to the definition line by line, we can say search engine is a technical and creative process. So when I say technical, that means a lot of the stuff on the back end of the website, not just a keyword. Every business I speak to, oh, just sprinkle some keyword. No, that's just like 0.1%, right? Keyword, yes, is important, but that's not just the whole thing. But there are technical processes, which we're going to talk about in our future series. What are those technical processes on the back end that you have to implement? And I'm going to share with you in a few minutes the Google standard when it comes to website development from the SEO perspective. Okay, so we got that. It's technical, which is the backend stuff of the website. When we say it's creative process, creative means the front page, right? We call this front design, right? Like the banner, call to action, pages, why set up in a certain way, why the copy addressing the user, is those that build for people with disability, why this is fast, why there is. So there has to be creative process. Why? Because that helps the website visitors to have an awesome experience. And when they have an awesome experience and they enjoy their time and they spend more time on the website, that is also considered part of the SEO process, because your objective is to basically give the best experience and the knowledge and the information to the target audience. Okay, so we talked about is a technical and creative process. But why this process exists? This process exists because the objective is to influence, right? The objective is to influence the visibility of your website or web pages in the organic search engine's result page. What is that? That means the front page of Google, right? So that is the objective. And with that objective, the whole purpose is what? To basically drive
Traffic.
those targeted traffic, which is the customer that wants you, the one to buy your product and services, right? So when they come to your website, they're going to take an action. So if I repeat the definition, I would say it is a technical and creative process to influence the visibility of a website in a search engine's organic search result for the purpose of driving targeted customer to it, which is the website. Not just talking about ranking. I mean, sometimes you can rank for the, I don't know what, any kumbaya keywords out there, right? That has no relevancy to your website on the first page, but that's not going to do anything. Make sense? And with this search engine optimization technique, in a few seconds, we're going to answer Imran's question about the importance behind it, right? So now we know the definition of what SEO is, right? Now let's understand briefly how Google defines it. So according to Google, their definition is to make the website easier for search engines to crawl. They have a spider, a bot, a software that crawls the web, right? We have more than 60 trillion pages. So imagine how long it takes for this software to crawl all the new pages that we get on a daily basis in hundred thousands, pages that comes out every single day, right? So to make it easier for the search engine to crawl, to index, and to understand your content. That's why Google highly recommend that when you build your website or if you want to optimize it, you should focus your decision first and foremost on what is best for the website visitors. Does that make sense? And so these are the definition. And when it comes to the standard definition and the Google definition, we talked about crawling, indexing, retrieving, and ranking. And so that's what the bot does. In fact, if you go to Google and type how search works, there's an old video from Google by Matt Cutts. His name is Matt Cutts. I don't know if he works there anymore, but he will show you an animated version of how this software works. I mean, it goes through everything on the website. It goes through text, coding, everything, just like the old library style where you have it. I don't know if you guys remember. I don't know. You probably remember back in the day when we used to go to the library. We used to go to these big, like a small drawers. We pull the drawers and they're like index cards to pull the books, right? So this concept is similar. So if the nature of the search engine to crawl and index and retrieve and rank, when some people say SEO dead, they have no clue what they're talking about. That's what the search engine does. It crawls the site. And it crawls for what? Informations and videos and images and to index it, then retrieve it. Everything happens in less than a 0.000 milliseconds, right? So that's a concept. What it is, how it works, right? Now, to answer your question, why it's important, right? It's very important because it helps you with boosting the ranking of your website. It helps you with having your target audience be able to find your product and services. It helps you with generating targeted leads and not just any leads, right? It also helps you to increase targeted traffic because not all traffic are equal, correct? And the most important thing from my perspective is the data science, right? So it helps you to measure your result. So if you have a plan, like let's say you did the on-page optimization we're going to talk about next week, and you have a plan on a monthly basis, like whether you're blogging, content distribution, infographic, and podcast, and you're putting all your effort, but you can measure it through the Google Analytics and Google Search Console or any type of third-party software like Hotjar, Crazy Egg, or Lucky Orange. So these information now, it helps you to generate organic information. So when you go back to strategize and put content to have some sort of high impact for your target audience, you can do that not based on just feelings, right? You're doing it based on the information, based on the data. And this data is so powerful because it gives you an idea where your customer exists, how many minutes they spend on the page, where are they coming from? Are my visitors mostly mobile or desktop? What kind of computer do you use? What kind of browser do they use? From which zip code they're coming, from which state? All this information is so important. It's not just about sprinkling keyword and you're done. There's a so amazing communication between the web, within the social, and other all technology. That's why I think sometimes the search engine, because everyone goes to the internet, is interconnected to a lot of other places. Like when you focus on Facebook ad, it's just Facebook ad, right? When you focus on Google ad, it's just Google ads, and Google ads can help you to kind of connect with different sites and whatnot. But search engine, it listens to the social signals. It does some other cool stuff, right? What most businesses don't understand, that it takes time for your website to get the traffic and get the ranking. That's the one thing they don't get it. I mean, even in 2020, and I tell them, look, there's no guarantee. When you have more than, I'm talking about 60 trillion pages already, right? Imagine every day there's a new website coming up, right? So it's organic for a reason. We call it organic because it takes time. It can take 6 months, 3 months, 9 months, 1 year, 2 years, who knows? And it depends on your market. It depends on your type of business. If you are, let's say, a local barber shop, brand new, yeah, within 3 to 6 months, you'll be there in that specific area for a customer to find you. But if you're an e-commerce website that focus only in San Antonio, it might take you a year. Depends on the competition, right? But if you are an e-commerce website that want to focus nationwide or international, everything is possible, but the effort of putting tasks, strategizing might be a little bit more expensive, right? Now, here's the thing for the small businesses that probably don't know 90% of the SEO. If they just learn the basic of on-page SEO, right, and consistently provide awesome material on social media and blog on a consistent basis, maybe within 6 months or a year, they'll end up getting some good traffic, some good traction. If they just do that at least, you know what I mean? So that's my answer for why it's important.
So in a sense, I mean, so based on what you just said, I would assume that a reason a lot of businesses don't actually spend on SEO, the ones that don't, is for that particular reason, which is it takes 3 to 6 to 12 months for it to start showing its impact. But I would say that's from a misunderstanding on their part, not knowing the value of what this investment is going to bring back, right? And then
you're absolutely correct, 100%, because that's one of the things. I would say that's like 90% of them don't want to get into it because, first of all, it might be a little bit pricey. I mean, like when we do it, I mean, we're talking about like $1,500 and above, right? So if a brand new business don't understand the reason behind it, some businesses are smart. They know that it's a long-term investment. If they have the budget, they need to allocate that budget to build this. Why? Because it's like the tipping point. You work so hard for several months, for a year, and now it's like the snowball effect, where all the traffic coming in and whatnot, right? So when we sit with new clients, that's why I asked them. Imagine, I asked them like, what is the type of business? When did you start? Usually we try to take any businesses that have been in business for 5 years to 10 years because they can afford it. But the startup, most of them, they don't. So we look at exactly what they want. If they just want phone call right away, then the best option for them would be online ads, like Google, Bing, or Facebook. But at the same time means I'm not going to make a lot of money, but I still have to offer that to them because I have to care about the customer. I have to understand what is their needs and challenges and provide the solution, and not everything about money. Because if everything about money, I will give them full package, right? I make a couple of thousand a month, but that's not going to help us because we want to make sure that our clients, for example, makes money, makes profit, gets customer, keep the book open and running, and you know what I mean. So when they get that, we'll continue to upsell and continue the business with the client. So this is very, very important to people to understand. You don't want to end up just being a salesperson. You have to look at the customer, see what are their needs and what kind of budget they have, and then you decide on which platform, which part of the market they're going to go through. Some of my clients does everything. They do maintenance, SEO, online ads, some just SEO, and some just ads, and some just web development. But you're absolutely correct. One of the reasons that most small businesses are afraid not to get into SEO because number one, you said it takes long, and we don't know how long, which is like kind of scary because we don't know. I mean, it can take 3, 6 months, 9 months. We don't know, and it's sometimes it's a little bit pricey. Anybody that does it very cheap is impossible. And why I say it's impossible because if you do the on page for $500 or $1,000 one-time thing, okay, that's probably the cheapest price. But when it comes to monthly tasks, we're talking about like 27 to 55 hours a month of work. So how would somebody charge like a couple $100? I mean, I'm like, what are they doing, right? If you understand the nature of the task, and we're going to also cover this in the future series, what kind of task it involves. I mean, minimum time that we spend is like probably 27 hours a month. So if you pay somebody like $20 or even $40 or $50 a month, I mean, for per hour, you can see it's still expensive, right? Mm-hmm. So they have to understand that. But at the end result, if you have the proper budget and you're looking at the big picture, like, eventually I'm going to get probably hundreds of relevant key phrases that pointing back to my website, so I can end up building like 200 to 300 hits per day without running the ad. Mm. That way you can pause the ad, or you can test it with a small budget and have everything come organically. Imagine just somebody typing a key phrase and you on the first page, all the traffic that you're getting in. I mean, that's like, people don't know this. If you are the first link on the first page of Google right now, because all the changes happening, only 30% get the click, not 100%, because you have the Google My Business page and all the question base and all the new thing that Google is implementing right now is actually actually hurting other businesses, because you have all these question based boxes. You have seen that, and you also have the Google My Business pages. So in a way, it's kind of hurting the one that is on the first page. So people think that, if I'm on the first page, the first link, I'm gonna get 100% click. Not necessarily. You might get like 40 to 30% click because you'll have second link, third link, and so forth. You know what I mean? So that's why this is very crucial that even if you don't want to rank, at least eventually you're going to attract your target audience so they can convert into a buying customer.
So, I mean, in a sense then, for people who are new to SEO, obviously you've emphasized and demonstrated the importance of it. But I guess in a nutshell, if you're a new business or an existing business and you're not getting the traction onto your social media profile, your website, your blog, what have you, SEO is definitely something you should consider investing in as a long-term solution for your lack of traffic.
You're absolutely correct, because the beauty, I mean, for example, when we are helping this one big clients here for San Antonio, I mean, they were getting, it's like for most like a tourism for San Antonio kind of niche, right? I mean, they were getting like 500 hits a month, right? Which is really, really good. Right? I mean, that's a lot of hits, man. I mean, look at how the server can handle 500,000 traffic per month. So when they hired us the year before last year, we've been working on their project for almost a year and a half, and we fixed almost most of the stuff. When we got into the project, my team actually did like a full backend analysis, and we found out, like, going through hundred thousands of backlinks and whatnot, we found out that there were like 45,000 toxic and spam links to the website. So we took us 3 months to clean them up, to basically send a disavow link to Google request. And when that happened, so what happened after that process? So the traffic went down from maybe like 500,000 to maybe like 350 to 400,000. And the client was freaking out a little bit, because they thought, what happened to all the traffic? I said, something good happened to you, because Google basically removed all the toxic irrelevant traffic,
Mm.
and now it's focusing on like 80%, almost 90% health status that is getting the more targeted now. So it
Mm.
basically improved it, right? And to assure them, as I told them, look at your analytics. Your traffic didn't drop.
Mm.
In fact, it just went up a little bit. So even though the traffic is less, but the ranking, the ranking kind of keep going up and up and up. Makes sense? Because we clean all the trash. And in
Mm.
one incident, we found a keyword coming from a Wikipedia profile to this particular website. And that keyword got dropped from Google. Why? Because the keyword talks about, let's say, San Antonio brochure. When you click on it, it takes the visitor to the homepage, which is an incorrect page. It's supposed to take the visitor to the actual page that talks about the brochure, right? So
Mm.
Google dropped it. Why? Because the quality got better.
Mm.
You see what I'm saying? So now, and then last time when I asked them what was the conversion rate, they said it increased to like 23%.
Wow.
Right. So you see why this search engine is so important, because is people focus only on ranking on the first page, but no, it's more than that.
Mm.
It gives an idea if you are very active on social media, which social media channels is working. That comes back to the website. That's the good data, right? Because if I'm working on Facebook, on Instagram, and the analytics showing that it's coming to my website, that means everything is good. What is lacking, you can work on it. If YouTube's getting few traffic, let me go and focus on YouTube marketing, for example, or Twitter marketing. Do you see what I'm saying? And if you log into the Google Search Console, for example, it will tell you how many times your website showed up on the internet itself, on Google itself, like the impression, like 20,000 impressions. That means that link showed up 20,000 times, and how many clicks you got. So all this information is so crucial, because it doesn't just give you the data about the behavior and the activities on the internet for your website, but it also gives you information about your audience, man. I mean, imagine you have a coffee shop and you're getting like 100 customers every single day. You're going to be happy, right?
Mm.
And you're collecting the same data from your web,
Mm.
right? Because of all the properties that you set up on the back end and all your activities. You know what I mean? So people have to look at search engine not just from the ranking point of view. They have to look at it from data science, customer behavior, strategy, analysis. You have to look at all these, because all this information that you get, it can help you to do any kind of marketing. For example, let's say you decided, Imran, to change the design of the website, right? The first thing you have to do, you look at the analytics, all right? You're not just gonna change it because I feel like, right? Because if the analytics shows you that, let's say, certain pages has the highest hits, right? People still, search for it. If you completely change it, you can probably give them a shock, because it's not the same behavior. I mean, they're used to wanting to come to the site, watch this one video. Now you remove the video, they're like, what the heck? What happened here? Like, why completely change, right?
Like Facebook.
Yeah, like Facebook, right? So it's funny, because one day I had this meeting with this one prospect, which I don't work with him anymore, because the site design. So when we did the site design, there was some miscommunication, but mostly he basically didn't know exactly what he was talking about. He say one thing, then he changed his mind. Anyway, those kind of people, right? So we had a meeting, we did the comparison, and these folks that had no idea how internet works, giving all these so-called, feedback. People sometimes don't understand. Like when you give a feedback, about, let's say, I want a feedback on yoga. What are you gonna do? You're gonna ask somebody who knows yoga, who's certified, who teaches yoga, right? You're not gonna ask Joe Schmo on the street, hey, what do you think about yoga, right? So they were asking people that don't understand the internet, don't understand data science, and they were saying this sucks and whatnot. I'm like, do you know this website that you say it sucks gets like 10,000 hits a month?
Mm.
And it has 10 top pages, and these are the popular key phrases. And
Mm.
what did the owner of the company said? Well, you see, Yusuf, this is like a room full of stinky cats. And if you look for that less stinky cat, you're gonna search for that less stinky cat. I think that was the most ridiculous example I've heard in my life. I was kind of laughing in my head. You're probably watching this right now, which that's fine. You know what I mean? But they need to wake up. Like they need to understand that not everything is static. Not everything is like, oh, how I feel. I mean, that's why one of my favorite websites is clientsfromhell.net.
That's a real website?
Clientsfromhell.net. You should check it out. These are all the freelancers and contractors and businesses that have a funny experience with some of these clients. I mean, don't get me wrong. The customer was actually very, very, very nice guy, and he had this charisma and leadership. But unfortunately, he just does not understand, for example, as an example, how this thing works. And then he's not. There's so many clients like that. You're not gonna have a perfect client. You know what I mean? You have some that understand how this thing works, and you have some that don't. And this is where we come in and start to educate and explain to them so they can make the best decision. It was a very fun time to work with this specific individual.
Well, let's wrap it up today, my friend, because this is going to be 15 parts. So I think today we discussed quite a bit. And next, go ahead. You saying something?
Let me share this few things. I want to share a few things because first of all, when people ask me, okay, what are the rules when it comes to on page? Where can I find this information? You just have to Google webmaster guidelines. So let me share the screen real quick, and if anybody can see that. So you can just do a search for webmaster guidelines. So this one right here, for example, just do a Google search and look for webmaster guidelines. So these are the guidelines that Google basically emphasize highly when it comes to building a site. It mostly deals with on-page SEO. It also talks about the unethical practices that violates their guideline, like what is a clocking, what is a link scheme, all these other stuff, right? So this is the place which you need to check. And if you want to learn more, I mean, I mentioned about there's so many content out there when it comes to search engine. We can talk about later on in different series what are some of the recommendation when it comes to learning this, because believe it or not, when I learned back in 2002 to 2006, when I was learning search engine, the one that I learned was mostly black hat technique, which is a technique that violates Google's guideline. I did not know until I joined the webmaster community and did a lot of mistakes. Then I found out the difference between all the so-called black hat, gray hat, and white hat and whatnot. But because search engine changes, the algorithm always changes. There are a lot of new things, so it's good for us. I know it's going to be a little bit frustrating for customer, because what was working 2-3 years ago, it might not work right now, right? So this is where we have to educate the clients. This is what we have to tell them. Look, changes always happens. I'm going to look at Facebook. Their new layout really sucks. Facebook layout sucks, man. So, but hey, like they say, change is going to happen. Sometimes you can adapt. Sometimes, even like us right now, me and Amran is like, we don't liking it, but maybe in a few months, we're probably going to have to eventually submit to these changes. You know what I mean?
So cool, guys. I think we're going to wrap it up here and just give you a quick highlight of the upcoming week. So next week, we're going to have what is on-page and off-page SEO, followed by why voice searches matter. Then part 4, what are the 4 essential SEO principles? Part 5, what are the Google factors? Followed by what is a keyword. That's going to take you through 6 weeks of materials, and we're going to have altogether 15 weeks of materials. So, Yusuf,
it could be more too. Just that you'll let you know. Okay.
Probably will be more.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, guys, thanks again for joining us. We hope you benefited, and please do tune in every week on Sunday at 4 p.m. Central Time. This is about now 2 or 3 months of work we've been doing. Just thankfully, someone like Yusuf has joined the program and has been giving us a lot of useful and beneficial information in terms of website building, marketing, WordPress website building, and now we're going to SEO. So we'll see you guys next week at 4 p.m. Please remember, you can ask whatever questions that are pertinent to the topics that we're discussing. Leave your questions in the comments, and we'll try to get to them when we can.
Yeah, and don't forget to click share or invite your colleagues and friends to benefit from this.
That's absolutely right, Yusuf. Nice way to plug our services, my friend.
Right on.
All right, Yusuf. We'll see you next week, man.